So in today's video, we're going to be talking about caffeine. Now, you may or may not know how caffeine actually works, but I'm pretty certain you know how to keep your phone charged so that you can use it throughout the course of the day. The main thing is that when we're reaching for caffeine, what we're actually wanting is energy. And caffeine doesn't actually give us energy. What it actually masks is the fact that what we really need if we want actual energy is we need sleep. But instead, what we will do is we will pick up these drinks that will essentially give us the illusion of energy. Now, imagine if you picked up your phone and it told you that it had 80% battery life, when in reality it only actually had 10% battery life. What would you do? Well, you'd probably feel like you're free to use all your apps, to have your GPS on, to have all of the services on, because you've got 80% of battery life. But that's not what's actually really going on. The display is telling you you've got something that you don't. And in reality, you've got 10%, and the next thing you know, the phone dies, it crashes, that's it, out of juice. Same can happen to us when we actually use caffeine. If we are sleep deprived, and we start using caffeine, then we will actually get what's called a caffeine crash later in the day. You might find that you have that initial buzz from taking on the caffeine and that you're able to get more work done. The display up here is saying, yes, we have lots of energy. But in reality, you're actually using things that you don't have. A little bit like going into debt with a credit card. So it's displaying the wrong amount, and you might find yourself suddenly out of nowhere crashing and wondering where on earth that came from. And another thing that caffeine does, imagine again if you try to go to sleep and this thing just continues to just buzz at you. And you switch it onto silence, it keeps on buzzing. And you switch it onto airplane mode, it keeps on buzzing. You switch it off entirely and it just keeps buzzing all night. It's keeping you up. You may have actually experienced this if you've had caffeine later in the day. It has what's called a very long half-life, which means the caffeine is still in your system sort of 7-8 hours after you've ingested it. And as much as you have that crash earlier in the afternoon, you'll probably find that when you try and put your head on the pillow and actually get that sleep that you desperately need, that the caffeine is keeping you awake. Suddenly your mind feels wired. You're tired, but you're wired. It's all racing, it's going haywire, and you find it so hard to get to sleep. And this can lead into a bit of a vicious cycle, because what then happens is the next day we're more tired because we've missed out on that sleep, so we're reaching for more and more caffeine. Caffeine is a drug basically, and as with any drug, your dependency on it becomes more, so you need more over time. Now imagine if you were to plug your phone into a power supply that would give you extra juice now, but deplete the total volume of your battery over time. So it takes away, say, 1%, 5% of your battery over time. So with each successive charge, you're losing some of that total volume. Well, long term, this is the kind of thing that is happening within our bodies. As well as giving us the illusion of energy up here, caffeine fires up your adrenal system. It gets your adrenal system working overtime. And in order to work overtime, what actually happens is its baseline depletes over time. It leads on to something that's called adrenal fatigue. The more you just demand for this adrenal system to do its job, the worse it is at doing its job long term. And you might find yourself in a situation where actually you used to take on caffeine because it helped you with a workout or it helped you get your studying done. But now you actually need the caffeine just to feel like normal you. It used to help you feel like 150% of you, but now it makes you feel just about 100% of you. And if you don't have it, you feel like 50% of you. Depending on caffeine, too much for too long can have these effects on us, and it is best to actually, I'm not going to say stop entirely. Everybody enjoys a good cup of coffee, or energy drinks are extremely popular at the moment. I'm not going to say stop it entirely, but a couple of things that you might want to consider. Number one is how much caffeine you take on in total and over what time. Take breaks from having caffeine. Have days where you don't take it so that your baseline maintains, that you can actually still function as a regular human without needing to ingest some caffeine. And the second thing is, make sure you don't have it too late in the day. If you are going to have it, maybe prioritize having it earlier on so that the half-life of it is well and truly done by the time it comes time to go to bed. Because yes, you do need energy, but you're not getting it from caffeine. You need to get it from your sleep. Prioritize sleep, minimize caffeine throughout the day, and especially later on in the day, and you'll find that you actually get that energy that you're looking for much better.